That's what I'm
800 6-inch coil. That's picking some colonial iron right now.
Well, hopefully you found that signal again.
I don't know. It keeps getting deeper.
Oh, no. Do you remember what the first thing that you found with the detector way back when? What might have been?
We found beer cans way back when, because there's a lot of partying back on my island, and people would four-wheel back there in those woods, that kind of stuff. But first thing I found in Charleston was a bunch of big, giant square nails, and I was like floored. I really like tools and stuff like that. I'm a mechanic, and I like all kinds of different stuff. Once I started getting these nails and then wanting to restore all that stuff, but those nails and like a couple little pieces of pottery, and man, I was so addicted you couldn't get me to put it down. And I think it was a bounty hunter I got from the pawn shop for $50.
Wow.
It's like they're
cool.
Nails, man.
Love it. So let's see.
My signal was
it was a what?
Pewter spoon, big old rat tail pewter spoon. Sounded like a coin.
Cool.
Yep, and I'm done digging now.
Well, that's not a bad thing to end on.
No, not at all.
I love the rat tail spoons.
They're cool.
Now,
they're always deeper than they sound.
Yeah. Do you I know a lot of people on those pewter items, they'll use like an Elmer's glue to kind of keep it together. Do you do anything like that on pewter that you find? Oh, we might have lost you. Oh, no.
Hello?
Nope. Yeah, we got you back.
Got me back? Okay, cool. Trying to stay put.
That's too funny.
Are you standing out in the field, Axel?
Yeah. I leaned up against a tree, and I guess it cut me off.
Funny. Well, she was asking, did you hear her question about the pewter spoon, or,
No, I did not.
You heard it.
Okay. I know a lot of people use like an Elmer's glue type solution to kind of seal their pewter pieces so that way that they don't disintegrate. Do you do anything like that, or use anything else to keep like the pewter spoons and the pewter buttons from falling apart?
Yeah, I definitely do some Elmer's glue, depending on the level of corrosion. Either mix it with water or not. Sometimes I just use the straight Elmer's glue. Surprisingly, though, the pewter here likes the salt water and the brackish water in Charleston. So when I'm finding stuff mudlarking, it tends to just preserve for some reason.
That's nice. Yeah, that's great. I know that mudlarking up here, it absolutely disintegrates pewter, unless it's far down in the mud. Then that what is it called? The can't think of the type of the mud, but basically there's no oxygen in it, and that stuff comes out pristine.
Nice.
Yeah. Oops.
So, Axel, I know you get asked some of these questions all the time, and so we apologize for that, but a lot of times our audience likes to know one of your favorite finds. Do you have a favorite find? Or a favorite?
Well, let's see. I don't know if I could do. I guess I'd probably go with my Freeman fire badge that's in the Smithsonian. It's probably my favorite find.
Oh, wow. Really? Tell us more about that.
So it's a small, about the size of a quarter. It's 3 grams of coin silver. And it is engraved with the Niagara Fire Company engine number 8, and then William P. Perry at the bottom is the initials. And that was a group of freemen that were born free, pre-emancipation, and they actually volunteered for their part of town in Charleston, South Carolina, and the badge is dated 1861, which was the year of the Great Fire here.
Wow.
That's pretty amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It actually is the oldest African-American fire artifact in the history of the United States. So it was kind of out there before everybody else. And it kind of proved the theories of that fire company, because there was stuff in the paper, but there had never been any like holdable, tangible evidence that this company existed.
Oh, that is amazing.
And they were lifting it, and it was underneath it.
Wow. So what kind of research did you have to do to find more about that?
Well, I also helped locate lost African-American slave cemeteries for preservation so they don't get built on here in Charleston. And we volunteer for the Gull Society with that. And the guy that we work directly with is a genealogist named Grant Mishu, and he's a good friend of ours. And he actually helped set up the Charleston Fire Museum, so he knew exactly what it was.
Wow. That's amazing. That is amazing.
I had no clue. We didn't know what it was at first. I took some pictures of it and put it in my pocket. I didn't even film it. I film everything.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. I mean, we all have some of those items sometimes that we don't film or we don't really think are as significant until later. But that is flipping amazing. Wow. What an amazing relic artifact. Well, never mind. I know Amanda's got some more questions for you.
Well, I was going to say, just to be able to confirm that history is pretty amazing. And I'm sure, the different, I know that there's buckle books. I'm pretty sure I've seen the badge books out there as well. So I wonder if that one will be added to it. Love seeing the newer versions with stuff that, people who have dug, that item or this item. And, yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It kind of just kept getting bigger and bigger until it was just like, wow, it's a little bigger than me now. So I just kind of let the curators take care of everything else.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it showing at a museum right now?
Yes, it's in the Smithsonian in Washington.
That's so awesome.
That's amazing.
Do you get to visit for free?
Right?
I think so. I can work it out with the curator. I haven't gone up to visit it yet. I think it's 7-8 hours from Charleston, something like that. But it just went on display. It's been like a 2.5-year process, and I wasn't even allowed to talk about it.
Really?
And they just put it on display, and it made it in time for African American History Month.
Wow. That's flipping amazing. I mean, not many of us can say that our finds are in the any of our finds are in the Smithsonian. I mean, I've donated many of my finds to museums, but nothing like that. That's amazing.
I hope that changes for everyone. Everybody deserves a spot there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So you said that you mudlark. Do you do any dump digging or privy digging?
A little bit from time to time downtown. I've been invited on a few, and then I've gotten permission and done a few myself. I'm kind of an explorer. I just like to be out in the middle of nowhere and find these lost houses and stuff. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't actually make it on maps here because it gets burned during the wars, and then they destroy all the maps, and then it just never gets found. So kind of my biggest thing is locating all of these lost home sites where you deep water and high ground. There's going to be something there, and there's brick piles, and we try to tell the stories of those lost home sites.
That's awesome.
So that kind of, I get trapped downtown, and I'm like staring at buildings on either side of me, and I'm digging in like a 5x10 spot, and I'm like, I want to be in the woods.
It is. It's fun to explore, and it's amazing how many, undocumented houses and things you can stumble upon in the middle of nowhere. And that's how I've also always located a lot of the dumps that I've found as well. People are always asking, how did you find that dump, and it's just through exploring.
Just get out and wander around, and you'll find stuff.
You definitely will.
The more you wander, the more you'll find.
Right. Now, can you tell us, I know on all of your adventures and all your wandering that you do, I bet you have some pretty amazing stories, or maybe something really strange that happened, or something really cool, or some story that happened while you're out treasure hunting. Do you have anything like that you could share with us?
Let's see. Well, first of all, I'm a bit crazy, and I'm a big full drive guy. I actually build and restore Land Rover Defenders for a living, and get out in the woods to find these sites. And sometimes there's not roads or any way to get there, and we kind of just make our own roads and drive over some trees and get out there. It's kind of like a day-to-day hunting thing with us, but I don't know, we run into some big gators. There's a bunch of different stories, I guess. Can't really think of one right off the rip just to throw at you. I'm going to give it some thought, and I'll come back to that.
Well, how about your amazing find this weekend? Can you talk about? Are you allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, yeah, it's fine. I haven't made the video yet, but I don't mind talking about it, and I didn't have to even really correlate as much. But it will be going up on YouTube. So we were out trying to locate. There's 5 different home sites on this settlement that we were locating, and we were out here looking at LiDAR and trying to find sites. And my buddy John was like, "Hey man, I really want to go over here and check out this spot." We came over here, and well, Lord knows there's a whole bunch of brick piles and signals all over the place, and it doesn't seem like it has been dug before. So I didn't quite know what we had until you get home and you clean everything, kind of thing, because it gets so hot here in Charleston, and I get off work around 4, so we go out all night. So we were out from 9 o'clock at night until about noon that next day, just digging and digging and digging and digging and digging and going and going and going. But yeah, we like to spend the whole night in the woods. So we get back and clean everything. We've got spurs and buckles and buttons all over the place. And then lo and behold, there's the top of a palmetto tree on the top of this button. Okay, well, we dig South Carolina buttons all the time, right? Top of it looked a little weird to me, and it had stars around it. And I was like, wow, I think it's something significant considering it's a flat button and not a 2-piece or anything like that. And it ended up being the Gypsy button that they made here in Charleston. It's probably one of the most rare buttons in South Carolina. I don't know of too many more that are that more rare. There's a couple silver ones that are really rare too, but only a few of these ones have been found. They're pretty rare.
That's amazing.
Yeah, you sent pictures, and I think you posted it as well this weekend, and then just awesome. It's awesome. It's so neat to find stuff like that.
Yeah, it's pretty neat, especially when you get home. You didn't really think you found too much.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Right. It's always those nice little surprises.
Do what?
It's always those nice little surprises where you don't think you found much, and then there's that one item that you're like, what? You start cleaning it up, and you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Or you think you've been out all day digging trash, and you
Right.
start going through it, and you're like, wait a second, this isn't trash. Always a happy surprise. So do you have like a wish list or bucket list, or maybe a white whale that you're still searching for?
So here in Charleston, we dig a lot of the slave hire badges, which if you're not sure what those are, they're not a owner's tag. They are a worker's ID for downtown Charleston, and it was a system put in 1800 to teach the slaves a trade and make them earn or let them earn their own money, and then they paid taxes on their wages, and they learned how to assimilate into society. And that's all from the slave hire or slave badge book that Cliff wrote. But we found a lot of those. I found 9 of them now. They're pretty rare. It's really hard to find that many. There's people that have hunted down here their whole life and never found